James Franklin Shepard, fireman second class. 2 weeks after I wound up in the Army, I realized my mistake. I discovered it was a lot easier to sail around the country than it was to march across it with a field pack on your back. I guess some education must have rubbed off on me and stuck. I had to go through a refresher course at Fort Knox, Kentucky. Learn how to march and how to fire an M1 rifle and a few good things like that. And of course, being Navy, this was you might say another little bit of a boot camp type thing, but it was Army. And we had numerous interviews where they was reclassifying us. And during this period of time, I wound up having an interview with a lieutenant every day for almost a week. And he had all this paperwork on his desk there, and apparently it was all concerning me. And he said that at that point, I got a recommendation to go to OCS. And that's what brought up what I said earlier about somewhere along the line some education must have rubbed off on me and stuck, because I didn't think I was educated enough to be an officer. But anyway, I got the recommendation for it. But I had to go to leadership school before going to OCS. And I wound up being like 6 months being old enough to go to the schools. So this officer told me that, and he's pointing out these various papers there and shuffling them around and holding them up every now and then for me to look at some certain section of it. And he said, all this will be in your records. He said, we can't hold you here at Knox for 6 months. He said, you'll get shipped out to an outfit. And said, when 6 months comes up, you go into your company commander and explain to him that you want transferred out so you can go to these schools. Well, I got in 801st Engineers down at Fort Belvoir, Virginia, and I kind of cooled my heels there and sort of, maybe you might say, kept my nose a little cleaner, and so that I really wouldn't have anything against me at that point. And I went in and requested transfer out to go to these schools. And he didn't look at my records, didn't even have them on his desk when I was talking to him. He just looked at me and says, we're not authorized to send anybody to those schools from this outfit, so you can't go. Well, that kind of ticked me off, because during this period of time there, I got to thinking about it and thinking, well, of course, here again now, this lieutenant that I had all those interviews with, he told me that even if I flunked out of any school, like, well, OCS in particular, why, I would come out of that as a staff sergeant. If I went ahead and graduated from it, though, why, I'd come out as a second lieutenant. So I figured, well, what the heck, we'll try it. And if I get to be a staff sergeant or a second lieutenant, why, this will be my home for the next 20 or 30 years. And then when I got turned down from getting out of the 801st to go to these schools, I was okay. I'll try to keep things cool enough that when my discharge is up, I'll come out with an honorable discharge.